Are you directing your question to a specific person, or?
The one who knows.
Where's Google?
It's kind of funny when, like, you write these books and suddenly you're like the answer man. I'm like, I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know what is it. I don't even know what necessarily what a dimension is. I don't think there's anything that I could say to you, or any of us could say to you about a tear in a dimension that would actually have any meaning.
The answer is yes. They stitched it up.
I'm starting an interdimensional tear repair company, actually, so give me a call on that. I tend to emphasize the transformation and renewal. Transformation and renewal is not an automatic thing. Actually, the key to that, in terms of a spiritual teaching, is sacrifice and surrender. It's basically, sacrificing the attachment to things that aren't serving us as individuals or serving our society at large.
I think it's worthwhile entertaining the possibility that that we're already in the disaster. And this, in the film, we see these images of waves crashing in and hurricanes and tornadoes. That's not the worst of it. I think the worst of it is where we're at in our own society as we speak.
Now, on a global level, one thing that I think could be a solution would be to kind of colonize the media. It's actually more of like a tool for transforming the planet, because people are entrained into behavior patterns that then lead them to consume stuff and buy stuff and believe certain things. I think it would be possible that we could change global behavior in an accelerated time frame.
If probably 20% of the world would take up meditation and practice it diligently, my feeling is that within 6 months the world would be transformed for the better.
Each one of us needs to, I think, for our own well-being, come into an integrated awareness with the natural world, what little is left of it. I think our birthing system is an abomination. Our infant care is, when you compare it to what happens in indigenous society, it's unbelievable. Now we won't even carry our babies. We have little things to hold them out here. It's just, when I tell Maya midwives how we give birth and treat our babies, they're horrified. We're the barbarians, and they're ours.
An appendix in my book, Maya Cosmogenesis 2012, in which I noted that Maya scholars had deciphered a hieroglyph that was connected to creation events, and it deciphers to mean black hole.
Yeah, the Mayans knew about black holes because the Egyptians knew about wormholes too. And we're waking up to this, and thank God. I mean, he cites the Russian scientists that talk about type 0, 1, 2, and 3 civilizations. We're a type 0 civilization. We cannibalize the resources of our planet. We're at war with one another. And we're barely into the nuclear age here, and if we're lucky, we'll become a type 1 civilization. Start to colonize our solar system, gain awareness of the black hole at the center of our galaxy, which the Mayans seem to have done. And he says if you can tap the energy of that black hole, then you become a type 3 civilization. And he thinks we're 1 million years away from that. But I think we're about 10 years away from that. And I think the Mayans are coming up and giving us a model of at least a direction to follow, a trail to follow anyway.
My love for the Maya people, it's kind of like an interdisciplinary synthesis. So, like, specifically what I do in terms of reconstructing the iconography and identifying these connections between mythology and astronomy and sort of reconstructing the pieces of this lost sort of cosmovision or paradigm, which is specifically what I do. It requires that I have a good knowledge base of how the Maya calendar works and the different aspects of Maya thought and cosmology. So for me, there's been a lot of book study involved in that, but also going to the sites.
I kind of share the exact same thing John said. I'm in a good position. I co-host a radio show called Dreamland. I get to talk with all these guys. I've interviewed John, I've interviewed Daniel, I've interviewed many of the people I talked about today, Dr. Michio Kaku, all the greatest experts. I've talked about Bert Jensen, crop circle guy, and that really drives me because I want to know what other people know and what gets people excited, and that's fun. And then coming out and doing presentations like this.
And then I think that we can see, love becoming like a more active principle in the world. And for me, like one of the things that I'm thinking about in terms of the next book is in terms of social movements, like the nonviolent activism, like from Gandhi to Martin Luther King and so on, is that is like the main oppositional force to dominator empire at this point in our society. Like you're not going to be able to fight their weapons with your weapons, but you can fight them with nonviolent activism, which is really caring enough and loving enough to put yourself on the line for humanity and for the greater good.
There's a lot of messianic talk now, especially about Barack Obama. And all I have to say about that is, according to messianic prophecy, he's going to have to stand on this stage and spin himself into a being of light if he wants to be the Messiah. And I hope he does it. I really do, because if he does it, then you and I can start doing it too. And that is the criteria. Until then, I think we've got to be really careful. And that's part of the message here about this Maya 2012 prophecy, is this idea of the return of some Messiah that's going to stand up here and say something to you that has any meaning whatsoever. What you need is somebody who can stand up here and show you how to be a being of light. That is the criteria.